Hola amigos, my name is Julio Foppoli and I want you to speak Spanish like a pro. So you worked hard on trying to make sense of this little dialogue and you think it's all over. No way, my friend. Granted, you've already done the hardest part. Kudos for that. But the vocabulary analysis we'll do today is key to improving your listening skills. After all, vocabulary and comprehension go hand in hand. The more vocabulary you know, the easier it is to understand people. Add a lot of vocabulary to specific listening training like the one we've been doing, and in no time your comprehension skills will grow exponentially. That's why today we'll be analyzing the vocabulary from this conversation. You'll be surprised to see how many useful new words and phrases appear in this short dialogue. Even better, they are used in real life all the time, which is what really matters. Comencemos, let's get started. And this is the first line from the dialogue. Phoenix dice, tu español es muy bueno. ¿Estuviste alguna vez en España? And this phrase, alguna vez, is a very useful one. When we use alguna vez in questions, it means ever. For example, have you ever cooked? And to say this, we would say, ¿alguna vez cocinaste? Notice how we use the preterite with this structure. ¿Alguna vez cocinaste? Have you ever cooked? We could also say, ¿cocinaste alguna vez? We could change the order. Of course, it's also possible to say, ¿alguna vez has cocinado? Or, ¿has cocinado alguna vez? In some areas, people prefer to use this has cocinado instead of cocinaste, instead of the preterite. But in my experience, I've seen that most people, most regions, tend to use the preterite for this. Some other examples. Have they ever worked? Try to say this in 3 seconds or less. ¿Alguna vez trabajaron? But of course you could say, ¿han trabajado alguna vez? Does she ever sleep? How would you say that? ¿Alguna vez duerme? We can see here this phrase alguna vez is not necessarily used in the past or in the present perfect. It can be used in any tense really, and the meaning is ever. And continuing with the dialogue, Tom answers. No, pero mi abuela era de España y solía hablar español con ella todos los días. No, but my grandmother was from Spain and I used to speak Spanish with her every day. Solía is the verb soler in the infinitive, and this is interesting. In Spanish we use it as a verb, but in English we could express this meaning by using an adverb, like usually, or of course as a verb as well. But it's a little bit different how it works in English. Let's have a look at this. We usually eat together. To say this, in Spanish we would say, solemos comer juntos. For those who were wondering, well, can we use usualmente? Usualmente comemos juntos? Yes, definitely. You can definitely use that. But in Spanish, we can also use the verb soler, which is something that you wouldn't do in English, in the sense that in English, you wouldn't say we use to eat together in the present. The use without the D. In English, you cannot do that. In Spanish, this works as any other verb, right? So in the present, we would say solemos. Now, let's have a look at this other sentence. She usually gets home early. Suele llegar a casa temprano. As you can see here, this is a stem-changing verb. In other words, soler changes to UE. It's an O to UE stem-changing verb. That's why we say suele. Yo suelo. Tú sueles. And so on. Suele llegar a casa temprano. She usually gets home early. This also means used to. They used to study here. Solían estudiar aquí. He used to drink mate. Mate is a typical drink from some regions in South America. In Argentina, where I'm from, this is very, very common. But also it's very common in Paraguay, Uruguay, of course. Some areas in Brazil, right? And I may be forgetting some other countries, Paraguay. So it's a very, very, very common drink in South America in particular. Solía tomar mate. Now the conversation continues. Yo estuve en España 2 veces. Ah, ¿y te gustó el país? Sí, fue genial. Todos fueron muy amables conmigo. ¡Qué bueno! Yo estuve en España 2 veces. I was in Spain twice. 2 veces. Well, actually, veces is the plural form of vez. Vez meaning time. In this case, when the word time is used to talk about frequency, once, twice, 3 times, it's translated as vez. Well, 1 time is una vez. 2 times or twice is 2 veces. 10 times, 10 veces. So Phoenix says, yo estuve en España 2 veces. I was in Spain twice. Ah, ¿y te gustó el país? Did you like the country? Sí, fue genial. Yes, it was great. Todos fueron muy amables conmigo. Everyone was very kind, amables kind, with me. Now, for those wondering why estuve and not estaba, o fue, o era, the grammar, we'll analyze some specific grammar points, in particular that, in our next video. And then Tom says, qué bueno, how good. This is an exclamation. He's showing surprise. Qué bueno, emotion. So this is a very handy structure in Spanish. For this, we use the word que plus an adjective or an adverb plus a clause. Let's see this in practice. If I want to say how good, qué bueno. How expensive, qué caro. How boring it is, qué aburrido que es. How interesting, qué interesante. How fast she works, qué rápido que trabaja. Now, and continuing with this, Phoenix says, recuerdo que un día una joven se me acercó y me preguntó si estaba bien. I remember that one day, una joven is a young person, we know it's a woman because it's una joven. Otherwise, if it were a guy, we would say un joven. But this is a girl, this is a lady. Una joven se me acercó y me preguntó si estaba bien. Acercarse is to move closer, to approach. And then it says, y me preguntó si estaba bien. And she asked me if I was okay. Now, regarding this acercarse, let's have a look at this. We can use indirect object pronouns such as me, te, le, nos, os, o les. For example, she got closer. Ella se acercó. But if instead I wanted to say something like, she got closer to me, well, that's when we mention the person that you approach or that someone approaches, well, that's when we use these tiny little particles or pronouns. She got closer to me. Ella se me acercó. You see, we put it right before the verb. Se me acercó. So if I wanted to say they got closer, we are not mentioning closer to whom. Ellos se acercaron. But if I want to say like they got closer to us, ellos se nos acercaron. And you may be a little bit confused about the se and the nos. Well, if you have questions about that, I suggest that you watch 2 of my video series, one that is on object pronouns made easy, and the other one that has to do with reflexive verbs. Those are big topics in Spanish grammar. It's not the purpose of the video to go over this. Those could be like 20 videos each. But I'm going to post links to my video series below, so you'll be able to work on that. And if you have any questions, well, don't hesitate to let me know. Now, in the next part, Tom continues and he says, seguro que estabas perdido. Y era bonita. ¿Perdido? No, perdido no. Y sí, era preciosa. Pero ese no es el punto. So Tom says something like, I'm sure you were lost. And was she pretty? Seguro que. Great expression. Seguro que means literally, seguro means surely, certainly, definitely, for sure. For instance, I want to express this idea. Oh yeah, it will definitely rain. To say that, we could use this phrase. Seguro que va a llover. So if Spanish is not your native language and you say this, you sound way cooler. I mean, it's not the same to say va a llover, creo que va a llover. No, you go with seguro que va a llover. It sounds way more natural. Now, continuing with this, she's certainly tired. How would you say this? You have 3 seconds to figure it out. Seguro que está cansada. All right. They are definitely going to call today. Seguro que van a llamar hoy. Some related expressions using seguro. Seguro que sí, of course, definitely. And seguro que no, definitely not, certainly not. And then Tom says, oh no, por supuesto que no, perdón. Y ella también era muy divertida, dice Phoenix. Por supuesto que no. Again, of course not, definitely not. So this is similar to the previous phrase we saw. Por supuesto que no. Seguro que no. And then Phoenix says, and she was very funny too. Seguro que se dio cuenta de que estabas perdido y quiso ayudarte. Darse cuenta, this means to notice, to realize. So in a lot of cases people omit the word de. So she certainly realized that you were lost, estar perdido, and wanted to help you, y quiso ayudarte. Phoenix says, fue genial conocerla, it was great to meet her. Remember, conocer could be to know someone, but if it's the first time you see someone, to meet is conocer. Conocerla, to meet her. And Tom answers, sí, definitivamente estaba fuera de tu alcance. Fuera de tu alcance, this is an idiomatic expression meaning out of your league. Alcance, literally, it means reach, out of your reach. We can also use this expression when something, for example, we cannot afford something. Bueno, quisiera tener una camioneta muy grande, I would like to have a huge van, pero está fuera de mi alcance. But it's out of my reach, literally. It's like something I cannot afford. I can't afford it. Notice that here, Phoenix says, ¿qué? If you pay attention to the video, he shows surprise. ¿Qué? And that, when said like that, the meaning is like, what the heck? That would be to show that you're shocked. When you're shocked about something. ¿Qué? Right? So that's very, very common too. And this is all for today. I really encourage you to go over this video again, take notes, please study this vocabulary, because in our next video we are going to put all this into practice. And before we go, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell, so every time I upload some new material, you'll be the first one to know. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Julio Foppoli, and I'll see you next time.